All right. Here we are.
Morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. It's been a minute, like last few weeks since we've done a video for the David Rocha channel.
Yep.
And I was like, man, what better time than right now, right?
That's right.
Yeah. We got some nice rainy weather.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's dark out there.
Oh, we can't see.
So we got brother, Julio here. This is your second time on this.
Yeah, second time.
Yeah, you guys know Tomas already. And man, we were just chilling, guys. This subject was funny because we brought it up. We were at the grocery store and we brought it up. We're like, man, let's talk about it. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be fun. Wanted to talk about, well, I've never been on the Grey Goose, but I have been on a transport. So for those of you that don't know, the Grey Goose is a prison transport bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since on the subject, I want to talk about Con Air.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to make this a part two thing, part one and then a part two because of kind of what you were sharing, because you haven't been a state, but
No.
you did.
Did some county time. Did a little over 5 years.
5 years in county.
Santa Rita.
And I said, oh, that's a whole video into itself. So we're going to talk about that later. But I'm just like, you know what? I was thinking, I forgot what brought it up, but I'm like, man, I've never seen anybody talk about the transport.
Yeah.
Because that's like a whole experience into itself.
Yeah,
it
is.
I mean, like yourself, have you, because I'm sure even transported to court,
Yeah.
or where would you go to court at?
I went to Hayward Court. I was
all the way
first
from
I was
Santa-
going to Fremont Court, and then they bounced us over to Superior.
Okay, so
to the Hayward Court, and then
so
from
you know,
Hayward.
so you know a little bit about what that's like.
Oh yeah. Getting up at 4 a.m. and being
Yeah.
in court all day, coming back, evening time.
Are those sheriff buses, or are they? Because they're not prison buses.
No, they're sheriff buses, the white ones. They're not
Yeah.
actually gray, but they're
With
white.
the sheriff across the side.
Yeah. Alameda County Sheriff's
Yeah,
Department.
I see them on the freeway and they look at me all sad. I'm just driving. I'm like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and then even right here in Stanislaus County, it's the transports from the new jail to the courthouses. It's just the regular vans.
Oh, it's just vans.
Yeah,
They're not even a
yeah.
bus.
Not
Yeah.
even a bus. It's a van. The vans.
Yeah, so I was just like, I don't know why it made me think about it, but I just wanted to share my experience and then see what you guys think or whatever. I remember. Actually, I want to talk about transport vans too. Actually,
Yeah.
so I remember when they got me for Operation Black Widow. They took me to Sac County. And then I guess because Operation Black Widow, they had guys from Pelican Bay, guys from Fresno County Jail, because Fresno I think is a federal holding, Sacramento is a federal holding. So they wanted to bring us all to North County in Oakland first. That was before everybody went to Santa Rita under Operation Black Widow.
Yeah.
And so I guess they had individual federal vans, but they're just white, like the church van.
Yeah.
Like you can't tell what it is. Nothing. Windows are tinted.
Yeah.
And so I was in Sac County. And then they had 2 other co-defendants of mine with us, and then they transported us to North County in Oakland, which I call the dungeon. Have you ever been there?
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
You haven't been there, huh?
It's that tall building.
Right by
with
the
all little
freeway,
windows, yeah.
right by the 880.
Yep.
I call it the dungeon. And so that was my first time, like being transported as an inmate, like really, like besides a squad car, like really transported. And I'm guessing because it was the feds and it was marshals, like the guy riding shotgun had an AR-15 on his lap as we're driving down the freeway. And then we had to meet with another van from Fresno, and we met at the In-N-Out in Salida. So 2 vans, right, with marshals, and then a dude with the AR-15 stands there between, like, and I'm just like, we're right here in In-N-Out Burger,
Yeah.
And then they had a guy come into our van, and then we drove and they transported us to North County, and that was an experience, but the first time I was transported in a prison van, a prison bus, which federal, it's not called the Grey Goose, but it was from Travis Air Force Base. They put me on Con Air, and it's nothing like the movie.
No.
Con Air is just a regular plane. Looks like a Southwest plane, regular plane, but you just have shackles. It just looks like a regular commercial flight. It wasn't like like in the movie how they made it look like a little prison inside the. So I was taken to Travis Air Force Base, flown on Con Air to Victorville, and then from Victorville they had a bunch of buses, prison buses, and they're gonna take you all over the place.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so from Victorville, they took me to San Bernardino and was there for a day. And then San Bernardino took another prison bus to Terminal Island. And it was weird, man. It was weird because it was my real first experience. I don't know what's going on. All I knew was movies.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what is going on here? What is happening? And I remember looking out the window. I was already sentenced, so it was years. And I remember in my head thinking, this is the last time you're gonna see this countryside or the sides of the freeway or traffic, and like just in my head, I was starting an 8-year prison sentence. I mean, out of 8 years, I was already down 2 years. By the time I got on Con Air, I'd already been down 2. And out of the 8 years, you do like 6.5 or so, 6.
Yeah.
And but still, I'm just like, it's gonna be a long time till I see cars again. I remember thinking that in my head.
Yeah.
And everybody just kind of minding their own business, and everybody staying to themselves. And then so when they pulled up to Terminal Island, I remember just seeing the what's it called? The barbed wire. Barbed wire just piled on each other and high fences, and I saw the guard tower, and I'm just like, oh man.
Becomes real.
It got real. So for 2 years I was in county. I was in Santa Rita, Sacramento County, because they're federal holding. But now I'm pulling up, and I'm like, this is for reals now.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing marshals get out. They weren't marshals anymore. They were BOP now, Bureau of Prisons, and they had shotguns. As we all got out, like 12-gauge shotguns, and it was just a crazy experience. What about you?
For me, it was the Grey Goose. The very first experience on the Grey Goose was horrible. Just because, like I was sharing with you earlier at the grocery store, so they have you transpack everything the night before. So they wake you up early in the morning.
So what does that mean for people that don't know? What's transpack?
So transpacks means so when you first get to prison, you go see classifications. They classify you. They endorse you somewhere. They give you, I think it's 3 places that they're going to endorse you to, 1 of 3 places. So you kind of prepare yourself to where you're going to go. So when they finally got a bed for you somewhere, the trustee that's running the tier, that used to run around in the tier, would come and be like, Estrada, hey, pack your stuff up, transpacking tonight. So pretty much transpack means you're getting all your stuff together. You go, you take it to R&R.
All your property.
Yeah, all your property. You take it to R&R. And they just kind of got it set for that bus that's going to transfer you to where you need to go.
So this is from county jail?
No, this is from prison. Like once you get to reception. So from county jail, from Stanislaus County, they used to take us just in a white van.
Oh, like I'm saying,
pretty much. Yeah, they pack you up. They take you in a van load. Sometimes I won't say a van load because there's been times where I went. And when there was only like 3 of us going to prison.
So there's no reason for a bus.
Yeah, no reason for a bus, but they would pack that van in there with like 12 people. Yeah. So get you over there. Once you see classifications and stuff, like I said, then you get to the transpack, what they consider transpack, and then you you transpack. They wake you up early the next morning, crack your door. You come down. You go wait in R&R. The cool thing about this is when you get to R&R, you take off your jumpsuit. You know what I'm saying? Your 2-piece jumpsuit. You get naked and they hand you a paper jumpsuit. And so now you're in a paper jumpsuit. Doesn't matter how cold.
I've never been in a paper jumpsuit.
Yeah, I don't know if they do anymore, but this was my
I've heard
experience.
about them. Yeah. What happens if it rains?
Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. But
okay, go ahead.
It doesn't matter if it rains. It doesn't matter if it's hot. It doesn't matter.
It's cold, freezing cold.
It doesn't matter. You're in a paper jumpsuit.
Yeah.
And what's embarrassing is, dude, the slightest, like you start falling asleep and you just lean and your legs spread open, you rip it.
No.
So your junk's hanging out, bro. It's horrible. You know what I'm saying? But to top it off, they got you in R&R in a paper jumpsuit. So by the time you get onto the bus, you're already tore up, bro. Everything's already shot out. You know what I'm saying? And you're just like, but you're trying to keep it respectful. You're trying to, you know what I'm saying? And then to top it off, my first experience, like I told you earlier, is we got a flat tire right before we left DVI, so we had to go wait at a tire shop. Not only that, but now the COs are going and getting food. They're coming in eating, and now we're just like, oh man, like these are cold.
Wow.
So yeah, the Grey Goose experience, my first one was horrible. And then so pretty much you're shackled next to the next person next to you.
Do they have the waist chains?
Yeah, the waist chains
to the ankles too.
To the ankles, yeah.
And then
and you're like this. You're not
Yeah.
shackled. You're not shackled to the next person, but you guys are all.
You just
shackled.
got a chain that's coming down to your feet, so you're just kind of.
Now, have you ever experienced the black box?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yes, where they put that little thing on.
And it tears your wrist up if you twist the wrong way.
When you're a big guy like me,
Yeah.
your wrist, I can't hold my wrist together.
No.
Yeah.
And I remember my thumbs being numb for a week.
Yeah, I had a deputy. I was telling him because it was real uncomfortable, and I kind of persuaded one. Can I put him to my sides? And they had one where there's just a short link.
Yeah.
And you're like right here to your side, so you can't move it at all. So if you want to itch your nose, there's nothing you can move. You're just like right here at your hips.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that one was a little bit better, you know what I mean, than having it right here, and you have the little black
I got
bar
on
there.
Con Air with that.
Wow.
With the
Yeah.
black box.
Oh, that's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? That can get frustrating.
Yeah, no, and like when I got my very first time going to the new jail out here, I was up here in Z quarters at downtown, and that's what they did to me too. Because what was crazy is they told me to roll up. I'm going to the new jail, right? And I was at Z quarters, and everybody's like, "Oh, you're going to BMAX," and I'm like, "Oh man, I want to go to BMAX." You know what I'm saying? That's 23-hour lockdown. So I'm like, "Man, serious?" They're like, "Yeah, you're going to BMAX, bro. They don't send us out there." Da 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 da. And I was like, all right, well, it is what it is, whatever,
Yeah.
And what scared me even more is because they had everybody else loaded in the van, and then they came and got me, and then they took me down and they put me in the back of these little vans that they got here.
Yeah.
They got two separate seats with a cage in between them, so it's like a high control thing.
Yeah.
And so they put me in one of those black boxes, and then they put me in the back
Inside
there,
the
and I'm
box.
like, and I'm just like, oh, I'm going to BMAX. You know what I'm saying? But then they ended up putting me in E unit, which was where they housed all the Northerners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, cool. You know what I'm saying? I get to walk around. I'm not stuck on lockdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, my first experience on a Grey Goose was horrible, bro. Like I said, paper jumpsuit, got a flat tire, so we had to sit there and wait. And then we went to Folsom first, and then they unloaded me on accident. And they're like, no, come here. Where are you going? And I'm like, bro, you guys told me to get down. You know what I'm saying? You called my name and told me. And they're like, no. And so it was just, But did I learn? No.
I'm glad I never had one of those paper suits, man. No, they didn't do that in the feds.
No.
I don't know. Maybe now. I mean, it's been a while.
They took mine for evidence, clothes wise. When we got into the Fremont police station, they took us to a room and they said take your clothes off and they put everything in a brown bag and they gave me a paper jumpsuit and a zipper on there. Told me to sit down and lock my legs, handcuffed me, put me in a cell, and then they did it to everybody that they arrested. And that was just due to the fact for our clothes, to take evidence and stuff.
So
like
you
that.
had on the clothes that the crime was committed in, supposedly.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Yes. Unfortunately, yeah. So and then they gave us that white jumpsuit, and that was with me until I got transported to Santa Rita.
Yeah, papered out.
Yeah, and like brother was saying, it does tear. You know what I mean? If you lay a certain way, it'll get wrinkled. And so, my arms tore on the side. It didn't rip on the bottom, but it was just from laying down. You know what I mean? And it's very uncomfortable. But just my experience, I didn't get in the Grey Goose, but I got in a little shuttle bus, that we'll call it. It was a Alameda County, and I remember just pulling up to Santa Rita, looking at from the outside, and I was like, wow, this place is big.
It's huge.
And as we go around the back, I'm hearing walkie-talkies going off, and open the east heliport, and then I'm like, oh, what's in the east heliport? And all of a sudden I see a gate open, and then a deputy gets off, and I'm seeing him put his gun into a little cage area, gets back in, and as we're going in, and I see heliport east open, and then as we're going in, right, when then I can hear it closing behind me, and then I knew it just became real fast. I knew that, okay, this is where I'm going to be housed at. and all of a sudden doors pop open. I seen deputies coming out, and then they're taking from the front to the back, and I'm in the back and I'm tied up. You know what I mean? Because they go, I guess by the crime that you do, the highest ones in the back are the ones that are caged off.
Yeah.
So they take everybody out first, and I'm seeing them dispersing them, and then all of a sudden Valdez, they're calling us out, and as we come out, they're taking us to, we're going into a little holding cell. It's called an ice hole, they called
Yeah.
it. So they pulled me to the side, and then they just kind of rushed me in fast. I was just going through all kinds of bullpens, taking pictures. I seen a counselor, you know what I mean, and they don't do it like in prison where you get points, but you do get to, they ask you if you're active northerner, southerner or whatever. And at the time, I was all, they had me, I wasn't considered validated at the time,
yeah.
but they had me to where they housed me with the northerners, and it just became real fast, man. They gave me a yellow jumpsuit, and this is the first time in the county, you know what I mean? They were saying, that's max, you know what I mean? And I was waiting there hours, man. Hours went by in the bullpens. I'm sitting there like half of the day, and all of a sudden they say, Valdez, you go to building 4, boom, they shackled everybody up, and you're in a chain gang. Then now everybody's tied up, so person in front of you's got to walk just as quick, and they took us there, and I was there for quite a bit of length, man.
5.5 years.
5.5 years
in county jail.
County jail. Find a case, and
wow.
And it was kind of rough, I went from 4 building to 9 building. They shot me to 6 building, and then I actually became a pod worker. And you get a little bit of access. You get out of your cell, you actually clean. You actually pull the lunch, the dinner carts in and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You got a little bit more leeway, but nevertheless, you're still locked up, and you're still, smashed down 23 hours a day.
And we were joking with you, and I said, man, 5.5 years in county is like 15 years in prison. Like,
wow, yeah,
that's rough.
Yeah, it is.
That's so when you drove into Santa Rita, you were there for the next 5.5 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew by the charge that I had, I knew that I was going to be there in a lengthy. And then when I talked to my attorney, I had a private attorney, James Giller, Mitz and Giller out of Oakland, and when I got to talk to him, he just told me straight up, he's I'm not going to sit here and lie to you because you're going to be here for a quick minute. He goes, just we're just going to go through a lot of paperwork and a lot of, so I already had the mindset that I was going to be there. But after to be real, after like the first 2.5 years, 3 years, I was already programmed there. I was already it got to the point to where I was telling my attorney, just give me 17. I'll take 17 right now. Just take the hell off. And he was like, they're not budging, and so it was kind of, and it's nerve wracking, It's a lot of stressful, a lot of getting into it with other people inside the jail just because out of frustration,
How about the transporting though? Did you ever see anything jump off crazy?
A few times, but it's just
because because the reason, guys, is the you get guys from different units or enemies, and now you got them in the same vehicle. That's why I'm asking.
Well, they have a section off, you know what I mean? Okay. And usually if they're going to take a big crowd of a certain, like a northerner or southerner, they'll do a transport in a different van or a different one. But there's times where you're going to interact with people, you know what I mean, of another race, of the blacks or the others they call it. And everybody, when they go in there, everybody's shackled, and it's just the ones that are in high crime, they're shackled from the feet down.
Yeah.
And so when you're shackled, you can still use your legs. I seen someone knee someone in the face, you know what I mean, and then like try to headbutt, but it's only gonna last me like 10 seconds at the most, and then they're gonna it's shutting it down. But for the most part, you know what I mean, you get all the South warriors yelling, trying to get you out of your character. But other than that, you know what I mean, I'm just going to court. You know what I mean, I'm just trying to. But going in and out. It's an all-day process. You know what I mean, you get up at 4 in the morning, and you're going through all kinds of bullpens just to get on the bus by 7:30, and then you get to court by 8:30, and then 9 o'clock court starts. So
I remember. Maybe this is worse than a paper suit, man, because in there they take your laces, they take your belt.
Yeah.
So they would transport me from in the clothes that I was arrested in with no belt, and I had like some Ben Davis that were baggy. And I'm shackled, and my pants are falling. There's no way for me to take my pants. So all you could do is try to grab the front.
You
know,
a little help
here. The worst.
It is,
So what I do gotta say is 5.5 years isn't a quick minute, bro.
No.
Yeah, it's not. You know what I mean? But I look back at it, and it was a chapter in my life. You know what I mean? That unfortunately I had to go through. But like I tell people, you know what I mean, it had its ups and downs, you know what I mean? Just doing time period it's hard, you know what I mean? But you got to be mentally prepared, you know what I mean? I seen people go in there and they were good for like 6 months, and then like they just wig out, you know what I mean, or get in a wreck, or switch lanes, and then someone they get dealt with, and then get moved. And I seen a lot of people come and go, you know what I mean? And I didn't let that discourage me because, at times, I'll be like, I've seen, friends of mine coming in, doing 6 months, leaving out, coming back like a year later. Again. Yeah, a year later, coming like, you're still here? And I'm like, and I got to stomach it, you know what I mean? But, I mean, at some point, you got to, it's a mind thing. You got to, if you're not strong-minded, you will get,
you'll buckle.
Yeah, you will fold, And I've seen a lot of people do that. And,
I was trying to find my Stream Deck. I forgot to put it on, but give me a second here. This don't mess nothing up, but hold on. Never mind.
Yeah, but I've never seen the only time I've seen nothing during transport is right here in Stanislaus County.
Yeah.
They bring you to a tunnel, and people are walking out, people are walking in. So I've seen people throw their head at somebody, bro. Like just stupid stuff, bro. It's crazy.
Another thing, like, this is kind of weird, right? Because when I was arrested for Operation Black Widow, I was not a Christian. I didn't become a Christian until I fought Operation Black Widow for 3.5 years. Mm-hmm. And I was on bond. And then when I got arrested for selling dope while on federal bond, like the biggest, like the world's dumbest criminal, yeah, that's when I got saved. So the whole time I'm fighting Operation Black Widow in this whole case, I was not a Christian. Mm-hmm. I couldn't consider myself a Northerner. I would say it in court. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and so I remember, I think, what's that song called? So the marshals, when we would get transported because our court was in San Francisco, and we were in North County, mm-hmm. and they would transport us in vans, and all 21 of us, because 21 defendants, mm-hmm. and so they had multiple vans. It was just crazy. Each one had AR-15, each passenger marshal, and at the time they would always play music. I think it was whatever was popular in the Bay Area with hip hop.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, something like that.
Cameo.
Yeah, right. And they always played this one. I'm not gonna play it, but this is crazy. Watch. Let me look up the lyrics. I think it's called Soul Survivor.
Oh yeah, by Akon.
Yeah. Now trip out.
Akon and Jeezy.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And they would always play this. Okay. I'm not going to read those songs with little parts, because think about it. We are in here, all my co-defendants, these are some real gangsters. I'm in there for selling dope. I'm in there for, like, this is for reals, right? Yes, and this song always came on every time on the way to court. And it was forever etched in my mind now, because every time, I don't say I listen to the song, but if I ever hear it, boom, it throws me back to to that transport. And let me see. And there's a part where... let's see, it says, tonight I can't sleep, we're living in hell. First they give us to work, then they throw us in jail. Road trip, yeah, I'm trafficking the white. Please, Lord, don't let me go to jail tonight. And I'm just sitting there, like, with a black box on, and, and, let me see, what else? Because he cusses on this song, so.
Yeah.
Let's see, this is another part, he goes, if you get jammed up, don't mention my name. Forgive me, Lord. I know I ain't living right. I got to feed the block. And the N-word, starving. They got appetites. This is every day. It never gets old. Thought I was a juvenile, and I stuck to the G code. This ain't a rap song. This is my life. So I'm just hearing this, you know what I mean? And we're living, like, we're fighting a federal indictment.
You guys are going through that, you know what I mean?
And I'm just like, this is crazy, and I think, I don't know, there's a bunch of other stuff, but I was just tripping. I remember that for some reason this song would always play, and he's talking about, man, we're real riders, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm sitting there, I'm just sitting there actively a Northerner, and just bumping this and listening to us. I'm like, man, this is the life I chose,
Yeah.
And for some reason that song would always play, and it was just a trip, man. It was just crazy. It's a crazy time, when the marshals would take us to San Francisco, they would never stop at red lights. Like, I think we had a motorcycle.
Escort,
because they were afraid that somebody was going to try to do something, because these were like high-powered dudes that I was with, you know?
Yeah.
And they were just zooming through the Bay Bridge, they didn't even stop at the bridge. Like, they took this route and just, boom, kept going. and then the AR-15s, and it was crazy. I'll say this: one time they took us into the federal court. It's underground. It's a big old building, and they just have us sitting there because they're in a hurry just to sit there, right? Isn't that like? And I remember the guy in the back. We're all shackled with the box, and he looks back toward the trunk of the van, not the trunk, but like the open space.
Yeah.
And there's an AR-15 sitting there. I don't know if the marshals forgot. I'm just like, there was no cage. There was,
fully access.
It's like free for all.
AR-15 with a clip in it, and I'm freaking out because he goes, "Hey, Holmes, should I get it?"
Wow.
Not to me, and I'm just like, I'm gonna die right now because if this dude does that, they're gonna light up this whole van.
Yeah.
We're all dead. You know, and I remember there was a big homie. Well, they're all big homies, but maybe his big homie, he just like, nah, just leave it. I mean, for what? We can't get out of here anyways because we were in the basement. I mean, what are you gonna do? You know, and I remember like, is this guy joking around? You know?
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, but this rap song would always play, and just going on Con Air, and that was a trip. I remember looking out the window, and just seeing it. We flew over Tracy, and I'm just like, man.
I live right
there. Yeah. I'm like, give me a parachute, you know. And it was just an interesting thing. I don't know. I just wanted to talk about the transport, man, because to me, it's an experience on its own. It could be scary. It could be boring. It could be. You never know what's going to happen. You have different people with different types of ideologies, different gangs, different everything, and you never know, you know?
Yeah.
What if you're in a van and you think you're going to get transported, but what if the guy next to you planned an escape?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden some jumps off, and, you know, if there's a shootout, you're going, you know? You're going, you know? And when I saw these AR-15s and it was crazy because there's times where cars would get in the way, and the marshal would kind of like as if they got in the way on purpose, you know. And he was just like, and I'm just watching. I'm like, this is like a movie.
Yeah. You know,
they were not playing, man.
Yeah, they don't know what's real. They don't know what's going on out there. You know what I mean, it's just someone that just made a minor traffic mistake, and you know they're thinking that okay, it could be an ambush. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's what we
got people back here that are recognized on the streets that they can at any time that they can be shoot out in the streets. You know,
because once we got into San Francisco off the Bay Bridge and all the streets, it's right there downtown. So you're kind of closed in and feel claustrophobic. And I could tell these marshals were like, I'm not gonna say they were nervous, but they were on point.
No, on their game. They don't know what to expect.
They don't know what to expect. They got their Oakleys on, so you can't see where they're looking.
You
know, they're looking straight, but they don't. You
can't read their eyes.
It was a crazy experience. I remember one time, this one guy, we were getting picked up, I think, in North County, and they were chaining us all up and everything, and the dude was, for the most part, man, U.S. Marshals are super cool. They're not like cops. They're not like sheriffs. They're just like, I don't know what it is. I don't know, because they know the authority they carry, that because of that, they don't feel they have to punk you or nothing. They're very respectful. But I'll never forget, one marshal told the guy, he goes, "Hey man, I'm friendly, but I ain't your friend."
Yeah.
You know, like, hey,
let's
keep this respect.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
That's where it stops here. You know?
So, it was a trip, because when I heard that and just seeing how the marshals would carry themselves, it made me respect them.
Yeah.
You know, because even after court, after you would get out of court, if you got good news, the marshal would be like, "Hey man, no, hopefully everything works out for you." Like, they would say that. And I'm like, I don't know if sheriffs are like that. Anybody?
No, these sheriffs out here, there was a selected few that were cool. The other ones were like, you know what I'm saying? And but some of them were like one. He was a rookie when I first started doing, going to the county jail. Frost, real cool dude, bro. He was always respectful. You know what I'm saying? Even the last time I seen him, he already had climbed up the ranks, and when he heard that my case got dismissed, and I was up, I went back to my cell. He was just like, "Man, that's good for you. Go stay out of here. We're getting too old for this." And I was just like, he's like, "Yeah, I know." He even brought it up. He's, "I was just a rookie." He goes, "And you were just a kid when you started."
Wow.
And I said, "Yeah, but even you got a selective few, and then you got some that are just jerks.
They're just doing too much.
Yeah, like they take their job seriously.
Yeah, you're just like, who hurt you, man?
Yeah. Did I bully you when I was a kid?
But that's the way it is. I mean, same thing with inmates. I mean, you get inmates that I've seen inmates act like jerks to them, and I would think like, dude, you caused your crime. You made your crime. Yeah. Now you're gonna blame them. They're just telling you to follow the rules.
In Santa Rita, they had like a little code where you weren't supposed to talk to the K9, you know, and if you did, you had to have another person there to assist you to see what was being said. And you know, so basically, you know, we didn't talk to them unless we were spoken to, and it was always taught to, you know, show them the respect, you know what I mean? Because due to the fact that they're doing their job, and you're not gonna get anywhere, you know what I mean? I mean, you're gonna still be put in a bullpen. You're still gonna be chained
you're not gonna
up.
win.
Exactly, you know what I mean? So,
and if anything, it makes it harder for the pod.
Exactly, you know what I mean? So basically, it's kind of like, you know, don't go against the grain. Just either, you know, roll with it. But there was a little guideline where, you know, don't talk to the K9 unless you have something to really say. If there was something that, you know, if it did be said, but it had to be someone that was going to be there to assist you to hear the conversation, to make sure that there was nothing else said.
You're not telling.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're not dry snitching with those in the jail code. But other than that, you know what I mean? I never really interact with them. You know, I did whenever I was spoken to. You know what I mean? And I always talk to them with the utmost respect, because, you know, they're transporting you. I don't want to make my time any rougher than it already is. I got stressed to just go to court, period. So I mean, but you know, talking to them was to a minimum. You know what I mean? There was no horseplay. There was no basically, you know, like you know, don't sit there and lollygag. They will say, you know, to a deputy or anything like that. You know what I mean? Because like, you know, brother was saying that, you know, they're not your friends. You know what I mean? They're there to do their job, and as inmates, you know, we're there to, you know, go to court and deal with what we have to deal with.
Yeah.
And one thing I did see though is I did see somebody get removed because they were hitting on a female officer.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you know,
they don't play with that.
No, not at all.
And you know, what was kind of messed up is I get this wheel and they're asking me, "Hey, you went to court today? Did you see this?" And I'm like, "Man, you're asking me because you guys already know." You know what I'm saying? If I lie to you, that's me too. So, of course, I have to.
You probably were the only one they asked. You know what I mean? They want to see if it's going to come back. Everybody's going to give the right answer.
And,
you know.
And I seen them dealt with, bro, because first and foremost, you're not supposed to disrespect any female. And then if she's telling you, "Hey," you know what I'm saying? And she did get, you know, loud with them, and he just kind of laughed and smirked about it. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like,
yeah. In the feds, you'll get written up for looking a female CO in the eyes.
Yeah.
You know, so for those years, it was hard for me to talk to a woman when I got out and look at her in her face. If I talked to somebody like another sister or somebody at church, I would talk to her like this. "Oh, how you doing, sister?" Like I would be.
Yeah.
It was because it was so ingrained that you would get in trouble, and I didn't ever want something to, because I was serving God in there, so I didn't ever want anybody to take it wrong.
Yeah.
So, you know, talking to them directly and a female feeling a certain type of way, and then what does that look in my testimony? Even though, what if I was just talking, you know, to my counselor or whatever, you know? So that's something that it took me a while to break. It took me months to break out of that when I got out. Because I remember I went to the DMV and it was a woman when I got out, and then I went to get my insurance for my car and it was a woman, you know, and it was just awkward for me, you know, because I felt like I was going to get in trouble if I would look at her and talk to her. You know, but that's a whole other subject, you know. But guys, you know what I want to do is I want to make a part 2, because I do want to talk about prison versus jail, because you said you did. So I'm going to stop this, guys. We're going to continue this tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe if you like this kind of this kind of content, and just make sure you leave a comment. Let me know your experience. All right, guys. See you later.